Golf didn't start with green jackets or million-dollar purses. Picture this: early players on the windswept coast of Scotland using bent sticks to knock small stones across sheep pastures. Over time, those stones turned into simple balls wrapped in leather, and the game grew from a pastime into something more. In 1457, King James II even banned golf because it distracted soldiers from archery practice, showing just how popular the game had become. From the 1457 ban to Tiger Woods' 15-stroke win at the Masters, golf's story is packed with turning points. But before we get to the legends and the drama, let's go back to where it all began: the humble beginnings, golf's Scottish origins. On the eastern coast of Scotland, golf began as a simple pastime. Players in the Middle Ages would grab a bent wooden club and try to hit pebbles across the windswept dunes. There were no manicured fairways or carefully placed bunkers, just open land shaped by the weather and the sea. The game was informal, shaped by the rugged Scottish landscape, and it quickly became a favorite way to spend time in the community. By the 15th century, golf, known then as golf, had become so popular that it caught the attention of the Scottish Parliament. The concern wasn't about the game itself, but about its impact on military readiness. Soldiers were skipping archery practice to play golf, which didn't sit well with those in charge of national defense. As a result, Parliament banned golf multiple times during the 1400s, labeling it a distraction from more important duties. Yet, despite repeated bans, the game's appeal only grew, showing just how deeply it was woven into Scottish culture. Golf's story soon took a royal turn. In 1502, King James IV of Scotland bought his own set of clubs, making him the first monarch known to play the game. His endorsement gave golf a new level of legitimacy and helped it spread among the upper classes across Europe. Not long after, Mary, Queen of Scots, who studied in France, brought the game with her overseas. She's even credited with introducing the word caddy to golf, inspired by her French military aides called cadets who carried her clubs. With royal support, golf began its slow journey from a local pastime to an international sport. For centuries, though, golf remained unregulated. There were no official rules, standardized equipment, or organized tournaments. That changed in 1744, when the Gentlemen Golfers of Leith, later known as the Honourable Company of Edinburgh Golfers, drafted the first written rules for a competition on the Leith links. These rules provided structure, covering everything from the teeing ground to dealing with hazards. The move brought order to the game and helped settle disputes, making it easier for more people to play together. St. Andrews, now called the home of golf, became central to the sport's development. The first record of golf being played there dates back to 1552. By 1754, the St. Andrews Society of Golfers had formed and adopted the Leith rules. In 1764, they made a key change to the old course, setting it at 18 holes, a decision that would become the worldwide standard. That simple change shaped how every round of golf is played, and even today, finishing on the 18th green is a tradition that links players across generations. Early golf equipment was as basic as the courses. At first, players used wooden balls and hand-carved clubs made from beech, with shafts of ash or hazel. In 1618, the feathery ball was introduced, made from leather stuffed with feathers and stitched shut. These balls were delicate and didn't travel far, so the game was all about touch and precision rather than raw power. Every piece of equipment was crafted by hand, making each club and ball unique and adding to the game's charm. Despite these refinements, golf stayed a mostly amateur pursuit for a long time. There were no major tournaments or professional circuits. Players gathered with friends, sometimes for small wagers, but often just for the love of the game. Every course was different, shaped by the local geography, and each round felt like an adventure. The sport's appeal wasn't in fame or fortune, but in the challenge and camaraderie it offered. As the passion for golf deepened, players began to organize. They wrote rules, built clubs, and set up courses that would inspire others around the world. This drive to create structure and tradition turned golf from a simple pastime into a sport with its own identity and standards. A sport ready for the next chapter where new names and unforgettable moments would shape its legacy. The Age of Legends, golf's growth and iconic players. Golf's transformation into a true sport didn't just happen overnight. It was driven by the emergence of remarkable players whose names still echo through clubhouses and locker rooms today. The late 19th and early 20th centuries marked a turning point, as golf moved from informal gatherings to organized competition, and a new breed of talent began to set standards that would last for generations. One of the earliest giants of the game was Old Tom Morris. Born in 1821, he became a four-time winner of the Open Championship and served as the greenskeeper at St. Andrews. His skill as a player was matched by his influence on course design, as he helped shape many of the layouts that became the backbone of championship golf. Old Tom's work at St. Andrews in particular established traditions and standards that still define the sport, but the Morris story didn't end there. Old Tom's son, young Tom Morris, took the game to new heights with a record that still stands out. From 1868 to 1872, young Tom won the Open Championship 4 times in a row. He was just 17 when he claimed his first title, making him the youngest winner in the tournament's history. His victories weren't just narrow escapes. He won by margins of 11 and 12 strokes in 2 of those years, showing a level of dominance rarely seen. Though his life and career were cut short, young Tom's achievements became a benchmark for every player who followed. As golf's popularity spread, the United States began to carve out its own place in the game. The founding of the United States Golf Association, USGA, in 1894 brought structure and standardized rules, making tournaments like the U.S. Open possible. This new organization helped the game flourish on American soil, paving the way for homegrown champions to rise. Walter Hagen was one of the first American superstars to make a mark on the world stage. Hagen won 11 professional majors, including 4 British Opens, and he wasn't just about the trophies. He changed how people viewed professional golfers. At a time when amateurs were often held in higher regard, Hagen's confidence and skill showed that professionals could be just as respected. He also became the first golfer to launch his own equipment company, bringing a new level of professionalism and business savvy to the sport. Then came Bobby Jones, a player whose legend only grew with every tournament he entered. Jones was an amateur, but that didn't stop him from dominating the field. In 1930, he achieved the Grand Slam by winning the U.S. and British Opens and amateurs all in the same year. After this unprecedented feat, Jones retired at just 28, leaving the sport at the height of his powers and securing his place as one of golf's all-time greats. Even after stepping away from competition, his impact continued. He co-founded Augusta National Golf Club, home to the Masters tournament. The story of Ben Hogan stands out as a lesson in resilience and focus. In 1949, Hogan survived a near-fatal car accident that left him with serious injuries. Many thought his playing days were over, but just 16 months later, he returned to win the 1950 U.S. Open. Hogan's comeback was built on a relentless focus on swing fundamentals, and his determination inspired both fans and fellow players. His 9 major championships, including 3 U.S. Opens, are a testament to his skill and willpower. During this era, major tournaments like the Open Championship and the U.S. Open became proving grounds for the world's best. The Open, first played in 1860, started as a local affair but soon drew international attention, while the U.S. Open grew from humble beginnings to become one of golf's most coveted titles. These events gave players a stage to showcase their talents and push the limits of what was possible. The Age of Legends wasn't just about scores and trophies. It was about the personalities who gave golf its character. Old Tom and young Tom Morris, Walter Hagen, Bobby Jones, and Ben Hogan weren't only champions. They represented the spirit, skill, and resilience that defined the sport. Their stories are still told today, and their influence can be seen in every round played, from the first tee to the final putt. As the game evolved, so did the tools and courses that shaped it. The next chapter in golf's story is all about how innovation and technology transformed everything from the clubs in your bag to the very ground beneath your feet. The technology revolution, equipment, and course design. When you look at the gear in a golfer's bag today, it's clear the sport has gone through a technology revolution. The story starts with the golf ball, a small object that's seen centuries of change. In 1618, the feathery ball made its debut. Crafted from leather and stuffed with goose or chicken feathers, the feathery was a step up from earlier balls but came with challenges. Each one was painstakingly made by hand, and the cost was high. The feathery's fragility, especially in wet weather, meant that only the wealthy could afford to play regularly, keeping golf exclusive for generations. That all changed in 1848 with the invention of the gutta percha ball, or gutty. Dr. Robert Patterson discovered that the sap from the gutta percha tree could be molded into a ball that was tougher and much cheaper than the feathery. Suddenly, more people could afford to play, and the game started to open up. Players noticed that nicked and scuffed gutties actually flew better, so by the 1890s, manufacturers began using molds to add intentional markings, paving the way for the dimpled surfaces we see on modern golf balls. The next big leap came in 1898 with the Haskell ball. This new ball had a liquid or solid core wound with rubber thread and was covered in a balata shell. The design gave golfers more distance and greater durability, quickly making it the standard for competitive play. Around the same time, the addition of dimples to the ball's surface improved flight control and consistency, setting the pattern for the balls used today. Over the next century, multi-layered balls emerged, allowing players to choose balls that match their needs for spin, distance, or control. Golf clubs evolved right alongside the ball. The earliest clubs were simple: wooden heads attached to wooden shafts, usually beech for the heads and hazel for the shafts. Each club was handmade, often by local craftsmen or by the golfers themselves. In 1502, King James IV of Scotland purchased clubs from a bowmaker, showing how important these tools were even in golf's early days. But wooden clubs had their limits. They wore out quickly and struggled to keep up as ball technology improved. Iron-headed clubs started to appear in the 19th century, offering more durability and precision. But the real breakthrough arrived in the late 1890s with the introduction of steel shafts. These shafts didn't catch on immediately, but by the early 20th century, they had become the standard, making clubs sturdier and swings more consistent. As club design advanced, the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews responded by introducing the 14-club rule in 1939, limiting how many clubs a player could carry and bringing order to the growing variety of equipment. Fast forward to 1991, and Callaway's Big Bertha driver changed the game again. This oversized metal club head made hitting longer and more forgiving shots possible for a wider range of players. Soon, materials like titanium, graphite, and carbon fiber became common in club construction. These innovations gave golfers more power and control, but they also created new challenges for course designers. As players hit the ball farther, courses had to be lengthened or redesigned to keep the game competitive. Many classic layouts added new tees, bunkers, or hazards to adapt to the modern equipment and athleticism of today's golfers. Course design itself has always moved in step with equipment changes. Early courses followed the land's natural features: sand dunes, grassy mounds, and stone walls. As the sport matured, architects like Alistair Mackenzie and Donald Ross began to treat course design as an art form. Mackenzie, who designed Augusta National, used natural contours and strategic hazards to reward thoughtful play. Ross, known for Pinehurst No. 2, crafted layouts that challenged players to think their way around the course. Their work showed that a course could be both beautiful and demanding, no matter how far the ball traveled. One more innovation worth mentioning is the golf cart. Introduced in the 1950s, carts made the game more accessible, especially for older players or those with mobility issues. While some purists prefer walking, there's no denying that carts have helped more people enjoy the game. All these changes, new balls, stronger clubs, smarter course designs, and greater accessibility, have shaped golf into the sport we know today. Technology hasn't just changed how the game is played, it's made golf more inclusive and more challenging at every level. But for golf to truly become a global phenomenon, it needed something more than advanced equipment and clever design. The next big shift came when the game found its way into living rooms everywhere, setting the stage for golf's rise as a worldwide spectacle. The television era. Golf goes global. As golf's equipment and courses advanced, another force began to reshape the sport: how people watched it. The mid-20th century marked the beginning of the television era, a time when golf's biggest moments could unfold in front of millions, no matter where they lived. The first televised coverage of golf came in 1947, when the U.S. Open was broadcast locally. This broadcast was just the start, but it showed the potential for golf to reach a wider audience. By the 1950s, major networks started airing tournaments more regularly. Television let viewers see the tension of a critical putt and the precision of a perfect swing up close. Suddenly, the drama of golf wasn't limited to those standing around the 18th green. It was brought right into people's homes. What made golf so compelling on TV was its pace and suspense. Each shot held meaning, and the story of a tournament could shift with a single stroke. Viewers could follow their favorite players from the first tee to the last putt, feeling the pressure and excitement in real time. This connection turned casual viewers into dedicated fans, and it changed the way the world thought about golf. A sport needs stars, and the television era delivered them in style. Arnold Palmer became the face of golf in the 1960s. His aggressive play and approachable personality drew in fans, but it was his winning style that truly drove the sport's popularity and attracted major sponsorships. Palmer's rise coincided perfectly with the growth of televised golf, and his presence on the screen made the game feel more exciting and accessible. Palmer wasn't alone. His rivalry with Jack Nicklaus, known as the Super Legal Eagles, became a defining story of the 1960s and 70s. While Palmer brought flair and emotion, Nicklaus played with steady precision. Their contrasting styles gave fans plenty to debate and created some of the most memorable moments in golf history. Gary Player, with his international background, added another layer, helping expand golf's reach beyond the United States. Together, these players became household names, and their battles set the standard for what televised sports could be. The PGA Tour, established in 1934, gained a new level of importance as television coverage grew. Regular broadcasts of PGA Tour events gave fans a way to follow the sport week after week. The tour's structure made it easy to track player rankings, rivalries, and storylines throughout the season. It also provided a reliable platform for sponsors who recognized the marketing power of golf's growing audience. Sponsorship quickly became a major part of the television era. Companies saw the value in associating with golf's image of excellence and tradition. Brands like Rolex and Coca-Cola didn't just advertise during tournaments. They became part of the sport's identity. The influx of sponsor money led to bigger prize purses, upgraded tournament facilities, and improved broadcast production. This financial support helped elevate both the experience for players and the spectacle for viewers. One tournament stood out above the rest, the Masters. By the 1960s, the Masters had become a television staple. Its unique traditions, from the green jacket to the blooming azaleas at Augusta National, made for captivating viewing. Iconic moments like Jack Nicklaus's comeback win in 1986 or Tiger Woods' breakout victory in 1997 became shared experiences for millions. The Masters wasn't just a golf tournament, it was a cultural event, drawing in viewers who might not watch another round all year. Television and sponsorship worked hand in hand to transform golf. The sport became more organized, more competitive, and more visible than ever before. Fans could now follow their favorite players' journeys, celebrate their triumphs, and relive the tension of every critical putt. Golf had moved from the shadows into the center of the sporting world. If you've got a favorite golf moment you first saw on TV, share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear which broadcast made you a fan. The television era set the stage for a new generation of players and a sport ready to break new boundaries. With golf now in the global spotlight, the next era would be defined by those who took the game even further. The modern era, golf's global dominance and iconic players. Today's game is defined by players and moments that have pushed golf to new heights, both in skill and influence. At the heart of this era is Tiger Woods, whose name has become synonymous with modern golf. When Woods won his first major at the Masters in 1997, it was a dominant victory that signaled a new chapter for the sport. His blend of power, precision, and mental focus set a standard that changed what people expected from a golfer. Woods didn't just win, he often did so with a level of control and confidence that drew in fans from every background. His success brought golf into mainstream culture, making it more accessible and relatable for millions who had never followed the game before. Woods' impact went far beyond the leaderboard. He introduced a new approach to fitness and athleticism in golf. Starting in the late 1990s, Woods focused on strength training, flexibility, and nutrition, inspiring a wave of players to treat their bodies like those of elite athletes. This shift made the modern pro golfer faster, stronger, and more resilient, changing how the game is played at every level. Today, players use advanced analytics and technology to break down every part of their swing and course strategy. Data-driven decisions combined with rigorous training have made the sport more precise and competitive than ever. As golf's popularity grew, the sport became truly global. Woods' influence helped attract new fans and players from around the world, and soon, golfers from a wide range of backgrounds began to shine on the biggest stages. Hideki Matsuyama's win at the 2021 Masters was a milestone, not just for Japan, but for golf's growing international reach. His victory showed that golf's biggest prizes were no longer limited to players from a handful of countries. The rise of international stars has led to a more diverse field in major tournaments and inspired new generations to pick up the game, from Asia to Europe and beyond. This international growth is reflected in the expansion of golf resorts and tournaments across the Pacific Rim and other regions. More countries are producing top-level players, and professional tours now feature a truly global roster. The sport's appeal continues to widen, with fans connecting through online communities, social media, and influencer-driven content. These new ways of sharing the golf experience help bring people together and keep the game evolving. Women's golf has also reached new levels of excellence and visibility in the modern era. Annika Sorenstam stands out as one of the sport's most influential figures, with 10 major championships and a career that set new standards for skill and consistency. Lorena Ochoa's 27 LPGA Tour wins further highlight the depth and talent in women's golf. Their achievements have inspired more women and girls to take up the sport, making golf more inclusive and welcoming. Today, champions like Nelly Korda continue this legacy, showing that women's golf is just as competitive and compelling as any men's event. Course design and tournament strategy have had to adapt to these changes. As players hit the ball farther and play more aggressively, courses have been lengthened and made more challenging. Architects now think carefully about how to test the modern athlete, adding strategic elements that require both power and precision. Even amateur golfers have adopted some of these ideas, focusing more on fitness, equipment, and data to improve their own games. One of the most memorable moments of this era came when Tiger Woods returned to major contention after years of setbacks. His comeback was more than just another trophy. It was a story of perseverance, resilience, and the enduring appeal of golf's greatest champions. Woods' return reminded fans that no matter how much the game changes, the drive to overcome obstacles and succeed remains at its core. Greatness in today's golf isn't measured only by trophies or records. It's seen in the sport's global reach, the advances in training and technology, and the stories of players who inspire others to pick up a club. Golf has become a sport where anyone, anywhere can find a place, whether they're chasing a championship or just enjoying a round with friends. As we look at the journey from golf's early days to its modern era, it's clear that the game keeps moving forward, always changing, always growing, and always ready for what comes next. From Scottish fields where players struck pebbles with bent sticks, to the first written rules at Leith, each era has left its mark. The Age of Legends brought names like Old Tom Morris and Bobby Jones, while the technology revolution changed balls, clubs, and courses. Television made golf a global event, and the modern era opened the game to new athletes and audiences worldwide. As we look to the future, technology and global communities promise even more change. What era will shape golf's future? Let us know below. Hit like if you've enjoyed golf's journey so far, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories and tips.